Picture a royal banquet, long table, chandeliers gleaming, tradition dripping from every corner. Now imagine the silence shattered as a gavel slams down. Rumors on the street say the House of Lords has unanimously voted to strip Meghan Markle, Prince Harry, and even their children of royal ties, permanently and completely. Not suspended, not up for review, reportedly erased. This isn't just exile, it's elimination. A generational cutoff that slams the palace gates shut, not just on Meghan and Harry, but on Archie and Lilibet.
Oh my gosh, I worked so hard.
It's about an hour-long cab ride. Never seen his grandchildren. This show is packed with the kind of spurious claims and hypocrisy that have become the Sussex signature. We learned they began making videos about their heroic journey 6 months before their Netflix deal was even announced, and right at the start of a pandemic that was killing.
The royal bloodline, some say, cleansed by decree. And if whispers out of Westminster are true, this isn't just the end of a royal chapter. It's the monarchy drawing a line in the sand and daring anyone to cross it. According to multiple reports, this wasn't a whisper behind velvet curtains or some quiet conversation over afternoon tea.
She spreads her legs, she hikes her dress, she circles her genitals.
Allowed to, if you excuse the massive book deals, the Silicon Valley startups, the preaching videos about well-being, the podcasts, the speeches, and the major network interviews with everyone from Oprah Winfrey to James Corden. But they've barely been seen or heard at all, have they? Well, on Thursday, they'll quietly and apologetically release their $100 million.
This was a thunderclap. Allegedly, the House of Lords convened behind closed doors and delivered what some insiders are calling a unanimous royal execution, a historic vote to permanently sever Meghan, Harry, and their children from all future ties to the monarchy. The mood inside? Reportedly ice cold. One insider described it as surgical and swift, like a royal guillotine falling without warning. Another called it a long overdue reset, like pulling weeds out of a national garden. The vote, according to sources, was absolute. No royal duties. No HRH titles. No honorary recognition for the children. And no re-entry. Ever.
Did you see my baby mama dance?
I mean, stop it. First of all, can I just tell you, the timing of that, we maybe watched it like 20 times yesterday, and I was like, is that her?
Oh my God.
Is that Prince Harry there with the fingers and the, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But also, by the way, that wasn't yesterday.
No,
that was 4 years ago. So it's also a really great reminder that with all the noise or whatever people do, there's still a whole life, a real, authentic, fun life that's happening behind the scenes. I'm just grateful that now, being back on social as well, I have a place where I can share it on my own terms.
Yeah. Oh, it's so great. It's so authentic, isn't it?
Everybody says she's a bully. She's very nasty. Not only is she incredibly controlling, but she's a bitch. About the end of every episode, it says, like, the starring, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex.
Yes.
That's how she's...
Some inside Parliament are calling it a full and final extraction. Others, an institutional cleansing. The Sussex name, they say, is being erased from the future of the royal brand. Not quietly, not temporarily.
Permanently.
It's being compared to scrubbing their initials off the palace gates, a symbolic and strategic move to end the chaos and reassert control. Meghan and Harry, once referred to as working royals, are now allegedly viewed as brand liabilities the crown can no longer afford. But make no mistake, this reported ruling wasn't just about retribution. It wasn't emotional. According to insiders, it was chess, not checkers. Because behind that clean final vote was a coordinated strategy years in the making.
Before we even get to the main event.
When the stakes are this high, doesn't it make more sense to hear our story from us?
Oh, shut up. What do you mean the stakes are this high? Who do you think you are? Other than a latte-munching imbecile.
She talks like she's a one-woman band. That is not hard work. Hard work is get up in the morning, get to 7 o'clock, get into a factory or a shop and working for 10 hours on your feet, coming home knackered. That's not what happens to her.
And still being a mom.
That is
Still
not
being
what
a
happens to
mom.
her.
Once the darlings of a modernizing monarchy, Meghan and Harry are now, according to whispers from inside Westminster, branded as traitors. Behind the polished wood and ceremonial robes of the Lord's chamber, their names weren't being discussed like estranged family members. They were allegedly being dissected like national security threats. According to palace sources, every scandal was stacked like a dossier on the table. The Oprah interview, the Spotify fallout, the Netflix specials, and of course, Harry's bombshell memoir.
If we're going to use the word betrayal, it's because when I asked him, which is also a really key point in all this, they don't report the news, they create the news.
The royals owe me. Harry owes me. Meghan owes me. What I've been through, I should be rewarded for.
One peer reportedly said, "This isn't dissent. It's sabotage disguised as vulnerability." The tone, insiders claim, was brutal. One anonymous member called the couple termites in the palace walls, silent, small, but capable of causing total institutional collapse if left unchecked. And that comparison? Allegedly echoed in the vote's language. Remove the risk, protect the crown. Negotiation wasn't on the table. Reconciliation wasn't even a footnote. The Lords, it's rumored, believed the time for diplomacy had expired. The time for extraction had arrived. No more deals. No more mercy. Just silence and steel. And in one final, chilling stroke, they didn't stop at Harry and Meghan. They reached for the next generation. This, insiders say, is where the decision moved from strategic to shocking. Because it wasn't just Meghan and Harry being cut off. According to royal sources, the Lords allegedly voted to strip Archie and Lilibet of any potential royal honors, roles, or future inclusion in the monarchy's ceremonial traditions. Not suspended, abolished. One insider reportedly described it as erasing names from an ancient scroll, gone from the line of succession, gone from internal documents, gone from ceremonial projections, gone from history. While a few peers allegedly voiced discomfort, particularly with targeting young children, the final outcome was described as resolute and chillingly unanimous. As one peer reportedly said, "You can't sever a branch and let the leaves hang on. If the family is out, the legacy must follow." It wasn't just a policy move. It was a bloodline blackout. Some claim this is meant to protect the monarchy from future loose ends, from children growing up outside the system, then returning to cash in or cause waves. By cutting them off now, the Crown reportedly believes it's avoiding a ticking PR time bomb decades down the line. And behind this decisive, generational culling, allegedly stood one man, with the final say. While the House of Lords carried out the alleged vote, whispers from palace insiders say it all happened with the full knowledge and silent approval of King Charles. He didn't need to say the words. He reportedly didn't have to cast a vote. But according to multiple sources, his non-intervention was the loudest statement of all. This didn't happen without his blessing, one senior royal insider reportedly confirmed. He may not have wielded the sword, but he handed it to the executioners. Charles has long been described as the moderate monarch, a peacekeeper stuck between two suns. But sources say that behind the scenes, he's grown exhausted. Exhausted with the headlines, the drama, the distractions. According to whispers from his inner circle, the vote by the Lords was his clean break, without fingerprints. He let tradition carry the axe, while he kept his public image intact. One former aide put it bluntly, he didn't want to be the villain, but he was happy to let someone else play the part. And if Charles gave the nod, then someone else reportedly pushed the plan. The future king, and the architect of this royal reset, is waiting in the wings. If King Charles gave the nod, Prince William was the hand that moved the chess pieces. Every insider quote, every hushed whisper out of royal circles points to one thing. This wasn't Charles's idea. This was William's orchestration from the shadows, a quiet but deliberate power play. According to palace sources, William has been relentlessly committed to shaping the monarchy into a sleek, scandal-free institution, one that doesn't flinch under headlines, one that doesn't bend to chaos. And that mission, insiders say, left no room for Meghan and Harry. He reportedly held confidential meetings with lords sympathetic to his vision. Behind closed doors, he laid out the damage, pointing to Oprah, Netflix, Spotify, Spare. One source claims he said, "Every time they speak, we bleed. Every quote is a dagger in the crown." But this wasn't vengeance. According to a senior aide, William didn't flinch from the cost. He knew the public fallout would be brutal. He knew Harry would feel betrayed. But he also knew this moment would define his reign before it even began. William is already ruling in spirit, one political insider reportedly said. This wasn't just about stripping titles. It was about reshaping the monarchy in his image. This was his first major act of kingship, and he did it without wearing the crown. Like a future CEO cleaning house before taking over the company, William allegedly made sure the brand was sanitized before the handoff. And Meghan? She saw it for exactly what it was, a direct hit. And the aftermath. Explosive. If the royal court was cold, Meghan's camp was volcanic. The moment the news reached Montecito, insiders say chaos erupted behind the mansion walls. One source close to the Sussex inner circle described Meghan's reaction as furious, humiliated, blindsided, and beyond livid that it extended to her children. She expected hostility, the source said. But she didn't expect this level of calculated cruelty. Allegedly, there were screaming phone calls, frantic strategy sessions, and a complete lockdown of her PR channels. Friends were instructed not to speak. Staff were placed on standby. One insider compared the scene to a war room during an ambush. And while Meghan is known for crafting her next move carefully, those close to her say this decision cracked something deeper. According to reports, what angered her most wasn't the loss of recognition. It was the erasure of her children. She knew they'd come for her, a close friend allegedly said. She just didn't think they'd go for the babies. Even more shocking, insiders say there was no call, no letter, no signal. Just an announcement blasted through the media, a royal cold shoulder so brutal it stung across oceans. Now, sources claim Meghan is weighing her options. Some say a formal public statement is coming. Others believe she'll respond the only way she knows how, with impact. When Meghan strikes, she does it with style, with control, and with global reach. But she isn't the only one wounded, because in the corner of that California estate, another fire was reportedly lit, and it belonged to Harry. Where Meghan went silent and strategic, Harry reportedly went nuclear. Insiders claim that behind closed doors, he was livid, pacing, shouting, cursing, and vowing to never speak to certain family members again. One source close to the Sussex circle said, he saw this as a knife in the back and one twisted with a smile. To Harry, this wasn't just a political maneuver. It was a personal execution, a royal obituary delivered to the only life he's ever known. Stripped of honor, lineage, and any future for his children, it reportedly felt like being cut off from his very identity. He said it loud. One insider revealed, "They're telling me I don't belong. They're telling me my kids are nothing. They've erased my bloodline." And reportedly, Harry isn't taking it lying down. Sources say he's already speaking to legal teams, not to reclaim the HRH or Duke title, but to build protections around Archie and Lilibet. If any further smears or protocol changes hit the press, he wants to be ready. But legal action isn't the only weapon in his arsenal. Insiders believe he may be preparing for a scorched earth media response. That could mean another interview, another book, or perhaps an unfiltered, gloves-off documentary. Because when Harry feels cornered, he doesn't retreat, he fires back. And if the palace thought stripping him would silence him, they may have just handed him a microphone with the volume turned all the way up. What started as whispers in Westminster has reportedly turned into a royal purge of historic proportions. Meghan, Harry, Archie, and Lilibet are now, according to sources, permanently banned from royal standing. No more titles. No more grace. No more second chances. And if these reports are true, it wasn't just personal, it was political. A coordinated push from the very top to burn the Sussex chapter out of the royal ledger.
So, what happens now?
Will Meghan and Harry respond publicly? Will lawsuits follow? Or is this just the beginning of an even more brutal media war? Because if the Crown thought this was the end, they might have just started a whole new rebellion.